price leadership is much simpler if you have 2 companies or 3 companies or 4 companies, where one company decides, hey, we're going to actually charge you for your luggage. Then the other companies go, ooh, that's a good idea. We should also do the same. Price leadership is much more legal than price fixing, even though from the perspective of the consumer, it's literally the same, because all capitalist corporations at the end of the day want to become a monopoly or take advantage of cartels.
Paramount.
We're going to start talking about Paramount now, launching a hostile takeover bid for Warner Brothers Discovery. Oh, speaking of which, as far as, yes, news time. Everyone rejoice. It's news time. Yeah, there were some comments on the fit. People were losing their minds on the Zhongshan suit, custom made in China, as you guys know. I was really, I'm very stoked on it, and apparently BDBD chatters loved it. Okay, whereas Americans lost their minds. I even saw people on 4chan shitting on the people mad about your drip. Yeah. What is this? Ethan Klein? I don't care what he said. Come on, dude. Don't link me that shit. Okay. I don't give a shit what he's doing. Let him chirp. Anyway, let's continue. Let's get to the hostile takeover bid for Warner Brothers Discovery. Warner Bros. Discovery. Okay. Let's get into it. The Ellisons are at it again.
Has just announced a hostile takeover bid for CNN's parent company, Warner Brothers Discovery. This news coming just days after the company announced a deal with Netflix.
CNN chief media analyst Brian Stelter is gathering the details. What is this for our viewers who may not understand exactly what this means? Tell us about it, Brian.
It's all down to how much Warner Bros. Discovery is worth, how much it's valued by shareholders. This time last year, the stock was hovering around $10 a share. It had been beaten down by shareholders for a couple of years. But now WBD is up near $30 a share, and that's how much Paramount is offering for the entire company, including CNN. This is an attempt to go over the top and to defeat Netflix, which has offered to pay $27 and change per share for just Warner Bros. And HBO, for just the movie studio and the streaming service part of the house. Paramount is basically saying that it is making a superior all-cash offer and going directly to shareholders in what's known as a hostile takeover bid and letting investors decide what to do with the future of the company. Here's Paramount CEO David Ellison speaking about it this morning.
We're sitting on Wall Street where cash is still king. We are offering shareholders $17.6 billion more cash than the deal they currently have signed up with Netflix. And we believe when they see what is currently in our offer, that's what they'll vote for.
So it's a corporate tug of war, financial back and forth. This is going to go on for a while. Netflix and WBD have a contract, they have a deal, and they're staying the course moving forward. Now, President Trump is an X factor here. Will he direct the Justice Department to slow down Netflix's pursuit of Warner Brothers? Will he try to tip the scales in some way? Well, notably, last night, Trump was keeping his options open. He expressed some skepticism about Netflix's deal, but he also praised co-CEO Ted Sarandos. Here's what Trump said.
Well, that's got to go through a process, and we'll see what happens. Netflix is a great company, and they've done a phenomenal job. Ted is a fantastic man. I have a lot of respect for him, but it's a lot of market share. So we'll have to see what happens.
Now, Netflix has been courting President Trump in recent weeks, and so has Paramount CEO David Ellison. A lot of this comes down to the relationships that the president has with these media moguls and what direction these moguls want to take the company. Notably, though, this morning, Trump blasted Paramount and blasted David Ellison in a Truth Social post. Apparently, the president was very upset with 60 Minutes last night, and he said in all caps, they're no better than the old ownership. Since they bought it, 60 Minutes has actually gotten worse. So President Trump not happy with either of his options seemingly this morning. But more importantly, more notably, a hostile bid now for WBD. We don't know who will end up owning CNN and the rest of the company.
The drama continues.
Yep, it certainly does.
Yeah. All right, Brian Stelter, thank you so much.
Now a bombshell announcement that happened this morning, and it will impact the...
I like to think, like, how much further could this go? Like, how much more media consolidation could we have? Is it better if there's only one company? Because, like, it's already a handful, right? It's already a handful of media properties. Might as well get to just one singular media entity. But hey, as long as it's not run by the government, it's fine, right? You know, that's capitalism, baby. No, it's not fine. Okay? It is. If a monopoly is going to happen regardless, which obviously in the best circumstance, this is what capitalism is supposed to foster. No monopolies, right? And yet, for some weird reason, the more wealth is concentrated in the hands of a select few, the more they consolidate power as well. This is one of the most important aspects of said power. It's an expression of said power. Okay? And it's crazy that virtually all of these different organs of the media are now in the hands of like 8 people total. And it seems like they want to even consolidate further. I say, if it turns into a monopoly in the hands of, you know, a handful of people, maybe it's easier to take over with the state. The difference, of course, in this situation is, yeah, consolidation is not capitalism. No, it is a natural phenomena. For that reason, of course, capitalism is going to invite this kind of consolidation. What do you mean? These are companies that are doing capitalism better than everybody else. The entire point is to try to monopolize an entire sector. There is a reason why the government, in an anti-capitalist initiative, is supposed to engage in some sort of antitrust measure, some sort of regulatory measure to break these major companies, and yet they choose not to do that over and over again because they're completely captive to wealth. Consolidation will kill capitalism faster than socialism. I don't disagree with you. That's why I'm saying, like, how much more of this can we take? Okay. We only had cable TV until a decade ago. It's fine. No. Because once again, yeah, sure, we have social media and whatnot, but the less diversity that exists in the hands of a select few, the easier it is to control all flows of information, especially when the guy we're talking about that wants to make this merger happen, not only just bought CBS, wants CNN, and on top of that, owns TikTok. So it's these dudes that literally own the social media platforms as well. And if you think that they're not actively looking for new ways to try and foment pro-Israel sentiment, for example, this is just one example, right? One example of many others that you can talk about, or make people feel better about this kind of concentration of wealth that exists, make people feel better, or try to get them to hyper focus on other things, you know, create discontent or take advantage of that discontent and then reshift people's priorities back to like marginalized communities and whatnot. If you don't think that this kind of concentration of wealth and power is not going to make that easier, you're not paying attention. Sarcasm is dead. It doesn't matter. It's going to happen anyway, is what I mean. Okay.
Entire media and entertainment industry. Paramount launched a hostile takeover bid for all of Warner Brothers Discovery after an $82 billion deal with Netflix was announced on Friday.
When you put number 1 and number 3 together, you are handing Netflix unprecedented market power, which is anti-competitive in every single measure.
That's so funny that he's saying that. Yeah. He's doing this for competition, actually. And for the record, I think the Ellisons are buying CNN no matter what happens. Okay? The bid for Warner Brothers Discovery is actually about CNN. And no, CNN is not broke as you're wrong. You're wrong. You don't know. You're absolutely wrong about that. CNN is insanely profitable on its own. Still, to this day, CNN is insanely profitable. Okay? A lot of these companies, no, I'm not incorrect. CNN actually generates a ton of profits. It's unimaginable to think. I get it, especially if you are on the internet. You're like, what the f? CNN is profitable? Yes. Billions of dollars in profit that they bring in every year. The reason why you don't think it's profitable is because of the fake accounting that takes place. So they take the profits that CNN is generating and they basically divvy it out. Okay. Not only is it unimaginably profitable, but also on top of that, they continue to make these insane. They continue to make these insane moves to like do partnerships like Kalshi and shit. Okay. Chatters don't know CNN has been making billions from. No. Okay. It was a funny joke. But the reason why CNN is a very profitable entity is because of its ad space. Okay. They are profitable because of their ad space. That's it. Hi, TV guy here. CNN makes more money than TBS and TNT combined, and that's their two flagships. Yes. If they commit fully to making CNN super right wing, won't they lose most of their profits from their current audience? I think the gamble currently is maybe putting the cart before the horse a little bit. I think these guys do legitimately think that you can dominate. I think these guys legitimately believe if you own all these media properties and you just basically get them to be more right wing, you'll be able to make the entire country more right wing. And there is some truth to that, for sure. Okay. Especially if they don't go too heavy-handed with it, especially if they do like a center-right pivot, even though CNN already is center-right, so I don't know how much more center-right they can be. But they genuinely think that if you control the flows of information, you can control people's minds across the board. Like people will, especially if you do it successfully enough and if you do it frequent enough, people will lose the forest for the trees. Okay? I don't think the ideology is that deep. I just think they like money. Oh, no, this is propaganda. This is absolutely a part of making money and continuing the super profits. Propaganda plays a major role. That's the reason why average chatters and regular folk don't understand the importance of what I do, for example. But you know who does understand that? The billionaires that literally give unlimited funds to right-wing YouTube channels, okay? They understand that. Why are they making that investment? Do you think they're getting a return on that investment? No. They're doing it because they recognize that the steady flow of propaganda that actually distracts the working class causes them to not organize, causes them to like every moment that one of your neighbors is invested in thinking about like whatever trans people are doing or, you know, Guatemalan migrants being a serious threat to American civilization is a moment where they don't recognize their class position, is a moment where they don't want to organize, okay? Wealthy people understand their class position. Billionaires, millionaires, capital owners understand their class position, and they're constantly engaging in class warfare. From this Marxian perspective, they are doing it all the time. And a big part of doing it all the time relies on making sure that the proletariat, the working class, do not understand their class position. And the best possible way to do that is by consistently dividing the working class and ensuring that they are too busy fighting amongst themselves to not look up and realize that maybe they should actually unite on their class interest and go up against the billionaires and millionaires. Okay? Simply put, it's the whole dynamic between it's not left, right. It's actually up versus down. It's true. There is truth to that. The reason why they're doing this is not immediately to make money. The reason why they're doing this is so that they can continue to make money without any sort of pushback whatsoever, without any sort of organizing against them whatsoever, because propaganda plays a big role. Okay. Because we're talking about media, latest media bias chart might be fun to dissect. Oh my God. Ad Fontes media chart. That's my favorite. These guys hate me, dude. They hate my ass. I don't even know if I made it in the cut this year, but usually they put me in like the most conspiratorial and the worst in these charts. I don't even know if they put me in the chart this year. Yeah, Ad Fontes Media. Oh my Lord. I didn't know that there was a new media bias chart. I look forward to it every year. It's my favorite. It's my favorite thing. My favorite thing because like it's the centrism lovers truly enjoy when this list comes out to be like, see, Hasan is the Alex Jones of the left. Look at this biased media chart. TYT to the left of Jacobin. Yeah, it's ridiculous. None of it makes sense, brother. Are you kidding me? Absolutely. Pod Save America is to the left of Jacobin as far as like most extreme left, hyper-partisan left. The up-down is reliability, and the left-right is partisanship on like, your ideological leanings, okay? It's so busted. It's so bad. I wonder if they got a little bit better this year, but I highly doubt it. Selective or incomplete / unfair persuasion and hyper-partisan left. Yeah, Jimmy Dore being represented as a hyper-partisan left, being more to the left than Jacobin is hilarious as well. It's already a difficult thing to try to figure out like what any kind of expression of politics in America is going to fit in this kind of grid system. But you can tell an outlet's biases by just looking at the right wing side, okay, and comparing like different places, like comparing what, like you can look at the Ad Fontes media as an institution and their own personal biases by looking at like how they perceive the right. Okay, because the media bias chart has always been ridiculous. Not even by using myself, but just by like comparing what they consider to be reliable news. Okay, on the reliability spectrum, putting something like Fox News, right, or Washington Examiner above like a Daily Beast or a Jacobin or a Democracy Now! Very quickly shows you where these guys' opinions are. Okay. Like they say Fox News, for example, skews right. By whose metric? If you think Fox News is just skews right and is not hyper partisan right or most extreme right, who is most extreme right? Yeah, Fox News just skews right. It's just like baby right. You know, they're kind of right wing. They're centrist. It's just ridiculous. Did Ronald Reagan write this from hell? Yeah. Charlie Kirk show, also hyper partisan right and also not very reliable, which, I don't disagree with, but it's, it's kind of bad. It's it's in poor taste to put Charlie Kirk down here, especially after the year that he had. This is up. What are we doing here? But it is, it's hilarious that Jimmy Dore is not only on the left, but also on the hyper partisan left. Okay. You can type your name top left, but it's paywalled to see where you are. Yeah, if you think I'm paying for that, you're out of your dang mind. Here's the static version with you in it. Is it from, this is the new one. This is this year. Okay. This is, contains misleading info and also hyper partisan left. Almost on the most extreme. Okay. Almost on the most extreme, which is up. They snub me again. Okay. They didn't put me as the most extreme because I am the most extreme. I'm the max left. Okay. And they say it contains misleading info, contains inaccurate, fabricated information. Yeah. Misleading information like Israel's committing a genocide, by the way. Okay. If you want to understand, like these guys if you want to understand their biases, you can look at the very fact that they will put me at contains misleading information while Epoch Times is on analysis or wide variation in reliability. Epoch Times, Matt Taibbi, the Free Press. I wonder what these guys' point of view looks like on the issue of Israel. If you're putting the Free Press on, wide array of reliability. Yeah, Joe Rogan Experience, higher degree of reliability than myself here. Maybe they're a little bit right wing. Maybe they skew a little bit right wing. The lunatic media bias chart. I know. it is funny to me that a lot of the centrist so-called liberal people who despise me will always point to this. Will always point to this chart to like beef up their point, right? To be like, oh, dude, look, Hasan is unserious. Don't watch him, right? Please do not go listen to what he has to say in terms of commentary. Not realizing that like they are unironically writing for a very right-wing media chart. You know? They're just like normalizing and trying to make legitimate a very right-wing media chart in general. If you have Epoch Times here, you're out of your mind. I don't know if they have Zeteo on here. Maybe they don't have Zeteo. Yeah, InfoWars is more reliable than me. I'm here. InfoWars is above me. InfoWars that got that got sued for $1 billion. And the free press is like, the free press is also close to the middle, but skews right. InfoWars, with their consistent coverage on demonic entities taking over the United States of America, is considered more reliable. It's just, you know, I know people will say, "Oh, Hasan is so butthurt." I'm not, and the reason why I'm not is because all of these outlets obviously don't agree with this media bias chart. So it doesn't make sense even from that perspective, because virtually all of these outlets will come to me for coverage with regular frequency. So even in its own confined logic that they're trying to create within the bias chart, this doesn't make any sense. I can't find you, even though you're apparently small little dot on here, but I found Chapo and Al Jazeera. Oh, this is like they've gone crazy with this. They've done a lot more. Oh yeah, on the news and reliability, they say Chapo is not reliable either. Anyway, Kushner, Saudis, Qataris, and the UAE is teaming up with Ellison to try to form the world's dominant English language media property. Paramount's initial press statement didn't include a mention of sovereign wealth funds, but September SEC filing said the outside financing partners include funds from Saudis, Qataris, Emirates, as well as Jared Kushner's affinity partners. Those funders have agreed to forego any governance rights to not trip CFIUS limits. I wonder where Dropsite is on the media reliability. That's another very clear indication of their biases. But regardless, the other side of the story, as far as monopolization and power concentration, is that when you actually are able to achieve a monopoly, you can slowly but surely raise prices, and there's no market competitor. So what are you going to do, right? You still need delivery. So you have to keep paying the now increased prices. And also on top of that, in order to make sure that profit margins keep going up, regardless of this, regardless of the ways in which technological improvements actually lower profit margins in general, you can still turn around and lower wages and find new ways of increasing profits, because the most valuable aspect of commodity production, in order to extract more surplus labor value, is on the point of labor. You can always reduce wages, you can always reduce benefits, and continue to expand your profit margins year over year. And that's where we're at. And that's what's happened with Amazon, for example. Predatory pricing with Amazon, and a bunch of anti-competitive initiatives that Amazon engaged in made it a monopoly in the field of e-commerce. And now they just dominated. They dominate e-commerce. They can increase prices if they choose to do so, and no one can say anything about it because they can't go anywhere else. That's a major problem with monopolies in different airlines, for example. Certain markets in the American airspace are dominated by either one company or two companies, right? And if you have to fly to, I don't know, Clearwater, Florida or something, you just have to take that airline. There is no alternative. You have no other alternatives. You have no alternatives in terms of like taking a train or any other alternative versions of travel. And you don't even have any alternatives when it comes to different airlines that you can take, right? And that is precisely how these companies can continue to ruin whatever kind of services that they used to offer with not much pushback. We also have to take into account the opposite end of the monopoly. It's not just one seller, it's one buyer. For instance, something like Amazon, it forces people who want to sell goods to take bad revenue splits, or in TV, it forces writers to pitch a show to one or two people who will not offer competitive prices. Yes. Think about it from the same perspective of Twitch streaming, right? When there was only one dominant force, streamers couldn't argue for better contracts, for example. But when there's multiple platforms out there, that's actually supposed to be good for competition. So now you can leverage the relationships that you have with different platforms. And when that goes away, when all of the other, when Microsoft, for example, shuttered its competitive live streaming project, what happened? Twitch actually said, we don't have to do contracts anymore, right? Yeah, when Mixer went away, when it was not competitive, and the market consolidated even further, Twitch realized they don't actually have to offer big contracts to these top content creators in general. I'm not saying this from the perspective of like, oh, woe is me. Oh, big Twitch streamers deserve more money or some shit. I'm just giving you an example that you might be, aware of, right? Hasan arguing for free market capitalism? No, as a matter of fact, if you were to understand the point I'm making, I'm saying that free market capitalism in the way that we understand it immediately create these monopolies. Because every single company obviously wants to pay the least amount of wages that they can possibly get away with and extract the most amount of profits. Okay? And the best possible way to do that is by consolidating power in the hands of few. Mergers and acquisitions, horizontal and vertical integration. So you basically control every part of the productive process. And this is before we even talk about like natural monopolies with major barriers of entry, because that's a whole different side of the story as well. But every single company wants to do that, right? Every single company wants to become a monopoly because competition reduces profits. And as long as there is an oligopoly, as is the case in many of these sectors now, virtually all of them, for example, with years and years of deregulation, years and years of the government basically stepping out of the way of companies, merging with one another, doing horizontal and vertical integration. You have arrived at a situation where, 6 companies basically own everything, every aspect, every commodity that you consume comes from like basically a handful of companies. And when there's only 6 companies, it's much easier to engage in the act of price fixing. But price fixing is illegal. So what do these companies do? Well, they do the legal thing, which is called price leadership. Price leadership is much simpler if you have 2 companies or 3 companies or 4 companies, right? Where one company decides, hey, we're going to actually charge you for your luggage. Then the other companies go, ooh, that's a good idea. We should also do the same. Okay? Price leadership is much more legal than price fixing. Even though from the perspective of the consumer, it's literally the same. And technically, it does operate almost in the exact same way. If there were 1,000 companies in that same sector, it'd be much more difficult to consolidate prices, okay? Because, some companies would figure out more efficient ways of production, or some companies would figure out, some companies could technically figure out something innovative, and then they could just basically explode like a bomb on the marketplace and force other companies to also engage in innovation. That's how competition is supposed to work, but it doesn't work that way because all capitalist corporations at the end of the day want to become a monopoly or take advantage of cartels, right? And it's really interesting because it is worse than a state capitalist enterprise. This is worse than a state-run monopoly, okay? Because at least in theory, a state-run monopoly is still accountable to social welfare because the government is supposed to ensure not only a level of efficiency if it is a state-run monopoly, but also on top of that, it's supposed to care in theory because of the democratic process. It's supposed to care about the welfare of its citizens, right? Private enterprise doesn't work that way. Private enterprise, not just in theory, but in practice, has never cared about the social welfare of people. It cares about one thing and one thing only: increasing profits. Okay? That's how you arrive at this situation. It's not an accident that America has become less and less innovative over the years. Especially, I would say, even though technology does seem to exponentially grow, and therefore we're still reaping the bountiful technological innovations as a consequence of that exponential growth. The only innovation you see from these companies is like newer methods of basically farming whatever meager wages you get year over year, because that's what they care about at the end of the day: innovating new ways of seeking out profit. Anyway, let's get back to show business, baby. Here is David Ellison talking about how his bid to purchase Warner Brothers is actually for competition.
Measure every single metric you can measure. And we think that is bad. Again, it's bad for the consumer. It's bad for the creative community. This deal, if it is allowed to move forward, will actually be the death of the theatrical movie business in Hollywood. We're sitting here today trying to save it.
And I should note, Warner Brothers Discovery is CNN's parent company. Joining me now is Bill Cohan, founding partner of Puck and veteran business writer. Thank you so much for being here, Bill. So you just heard David Ellison. I'm sure you watched the entire interview this morning. What he's saying is that they're going directly to the shareholders of Warner Brothers Discovery. Walk us through first how that works.
Well, they tried to reach a deal with the Warner Brothers Discovery board late last week. And as you were saying, Dana, that was not successful because the Warner Brothers board decided on Netflix. And the Ellisons, who control Paramount Skydance, believe that their offer was superior to the Netflix offer. And they feel like they got short shrift. And so their choice was at that point to either, pack up their bags and go home, or to do what they're doing, which is to, quote unquote, bring their offer directly to Warner Brothers Discovery shareholders, which is Wall Street Argo foregoing hostile. Mm-hmm. And we haven't seen anything quite like this in maybe 25 years on Wall Street, not since Pfizer tried to jump a deal that Warner Lambert had struck with American Home Products. So this is kind of big news.
Yeah, it's an understatement for sure, Bill. So given that, and knowing that you know your stuff when it comes to this kind of thing, what do you think the chances are that Paramount's appeal to shareholders, the hostile takeover, will actually succeed?
She's shedding so much.
Right. So that'll be up to the Warner Brothers Discovery shareholders, of course. I mean, $30 a share in cash is what Paramount Skydance is offering versus $27.75 a share in cash and Netflix stock, plus, Dana, the value of the what will possibly be spun off, a business that includes CNN, which some Wall Street analysts value at $5 a share and others at $1 a share. So it might just come down to, believe it or not, the value of the linear TV assets of which CNN will be spun off into, and what that value is. That might be what what shareholders have to decide here.
It's ironic, given.
You never blasted off? No, I did. I just did it really early, so you probably didn't see it. Yeah, this is a good point. Lena Khan at the FTC was screaming about price hikes during the Activision deal for all the gamers in the chat. Okay, you guys know this already. Microsoft swore it wouldn't happen, but now Game Pass is literally 2 times the price. It went from $15 to $30. Everyone said this would happen. Everyone who's knowledgeable said this would happen. Okay? There is no reason to ever trust a mega corporation. A mega corporation is always going to be first and foremost invested in making profits. But the big corporation said they wouldn't do it. How are the gamers supposed to know? I think Warner Brothers will be different. Just one more merger. Guys, just one more merger, okay? I promise you. One more merger and everything's going to be great. Just one more lane on the highway and traffic is gone. Just one more merger and our lives will improve. Okay?
And the fact that the whole play here is about what they call sort of the future of media if it comes down to linear TV. And David Ellison, I watched that whole interview as well, was saying that the broadcast part of it is actually still very, very viable and is worth a lot more. So let's talk about where I am in Washington. And it matters a lot what the government, I mean, once this all plays out between Netflix and Paramount, what the government decides. And I would venture to guess, and it's probably not that much of a reach, that what happens with Netflix and Paramount, who gets it, is very much about what President Trump may want to do here. Now, when Netflix announced this deal on Friday, we did hear a lot of pushback in Hollywood, particularly from the creative community. And President Trump was asked about the Netflix deal. Just listen to what he had to say about that. This is last night.
Well, that's got to go through a process, and we'll see what happens. Netflix is a great company, and they've done a phenomenal job. Ted is a fantastic man. I have a lot of respect for him, but it's a lot of market share. So we'll have to see what happens.
A lot of market share. That sounds like, let's just hold off here for 1 second. Now, before I bring you in, Bill, I want to play what David Ellison said this morning about the conversation.
Why is the government involved? What does the government have to do with buying Warner Bros? Great question. Now, in a healthy government, in a normal government, the government should be involved in this. Okay? The government should be involved in stopping it. The government should be involved in implementing the antitrust laws that are in the books. Except we don't live in a normal government. We don't live in a normal world. We live in hyper-capitalist dystopia, the United States of America, where corruption is rampant and out in the open. And Donald Trump is only getting involved specifically so that he can get a better managed deal for his buddies, who I assume will either cut them a piece of that pie financially, or get favorable coverage out of this at the end of the day, And you probably really want favorable coverage at the end of the day if you are planning on staying in power far beyond what's supposed to be your term limit, right? I don't think it's just like Trump is silly and wants Rush Hour 4 is what I mean. I think he wants he wants to make sure that there is a servile major media monopoly that will make it seem like everything he's doing is great. Yes, a pliant propaganda engine. It's not like they're hiding it either.
That he and his father, Larry Ellison, have had with President Trump.
Do you sense that he is in your corner here?
What I would say is I'm incredibly grateful for the relationship that I have with the president, and I also believe he believes in competition.
Your take?
Well, Dana, first of all, I mean, we use this word unprecedented way too much, but it really is unprecedented for the President of the United States to put his thumb on the scales of a Wall Street M&A deal. And that's what he's clearly doing. That's what he says he's going to do. He's already, as you know, he's courted the Ellisons, and the Ellisons have courted him. And now Ted Sarandos, the co-CEO of Netflix, has courted Trump and tried to get on his good side. this just never happens until Trump. I mean, Trump likes to get himself involved in these things. It's completely inappropriate, but that's the realpolitik of the situation. Who has the better deal with Trump? A better relationship with Trump? We're just going to have to wait and see. The first thing, though, that has to happen is that the shareholders of Warner Brothers Discovery have to decide which deal they favor. At the moment, the board has chosen Netflix. They've rejected Paramount, and that's why Paramount has brought this deal directly to the Warner Brothers Discovery shareholders. If they prevail, in other words, if the shareholders who get a vote, and this is very important, if they choose the Paramount deal, then it goes into the regulatory environment, and we'll see which one prevails with the government.
Right. But real quick, the point I was trying to make, and I think you would agree, is that it's not linear. These people.
You said this is what Putin did in Russia. Dissenting media stations were forcibly sold to Putin cronies. Erdogan in Turkey. Dude, what is unfolding in front of our eyes, even though it has like the Western veneer of fake democracy or some sort of like democratic process or some sort of like laws in the books, has unfolded in every developing country. Every single one. Every country that has been destabilized by America, every single country that moved in this direction has done it. It is not unprecedented at all. You get a bunch of wealthy loyalists, okay? Wealthy loyalists that have the same exact class interests as you to go and pick up every media outlet you possibly can, okay? And then you pump a shit ton of propaganda. Oh, everything is great. Everything is great. It's awesome. Trump is the best, actually. Don't believe your own immediate. Don't believe your lying eyes. Don't believe your own immediate frustrations with like how things are going, because things are actually awesome. Okay, it's kind of crazy. Because, I mean, the media has always had, I mean, obviously manufactured consent. The media has always had class interest that they play a role in defending, right? It has the capacity to normalize certain kinds of harms that you're experiencing in your day-to-day basis. It also will tell you, things are fine, things are good. It has a capacity to propagandize against certain groups. There's a reason why so many Americans are just like, I hate the Chinese. They're so dangerous. It's like, what the fuck has a Chinese person ever done to you? There's a reason why you feel that way, because every orifice is constantly pumping that kind of fear-mongering propaganda. So you then develop that attitude. Same thing with like Afghanistan or Iraq or any number of different places where we've actually had, illegal invasions and whatnot. So this doesn't happen in the UK. What are you talking about? It happens everywhere. Like I just said, this wouldn't happen in the EU. Yes, it already has happened in many places around the world. It's just this is even worse than that. Like, this already exists. What are you talking about? I mean, look at Rupert Murdoch. The difference is, also not in the EU, check Hungary. The difference is getting worse. Like, it's getting a metric ton worse, basically. Okay? It's worse than it was before. And it's only going to get worse. There is already a concept of like different media barons, both in the UK and everywhere else, and in Europe as well. But this is becoming more like Venezuela, for example. And ironically enough, I don't mean like, because people, when I say Venezuela, assume that like, oh, Maduro controls the media. No, it's the actual opposite. Even during the Chavez time and certainly during Maduro, this is a version of this already exists in Mexico, in Venezuela, and numerous other places where like historically it's very wealthy billionaires in the country that own all of the media properties, and they pump a shit ton of negative coverage with regular frequency. At least there are state broadcasters in some of these countries, or at least in the case of like in the case of AMLO and now Claudia Sheinbaum, the Morena party has basically cut out the middleman and go direct to market with their daily fireside chats and whatnot. So there are ways of trying to overcome this kind of like incredible amount of negative propaganda when you are threatening their bottom lines. But ultimately, this is a classic. What the visit fad.fan today? What the is that? 200 gifted subs. Hey yo, the was that? Is that an ad or something? What's going on? No W. No W if it's an ad. I don't know what the fuck that company is. They've never chatted before. It's not a real. That's a bit of a L. Let's be real. It's a Monad cryptocurrency ad? Ugh. Anyway. Where were we? It's probably not the best idea to do that here because I'm going to instantly start talking shit if I find out what it is. But in France, you got right-wing monopolies of the press and liberal monopolies of the press. Billionaire should not exist. Yeah, it's just, it goes even beyond the regular like influence peddling. It goes beyond the regular influence peddling that already exists in like liberal societies as well, even though there is a version of this that's taking place in liberal societies. It's just very, it's frustrating to experience this in the United States of America to this degree. But it is something that I think a lot of people are already familiar with.
People are making decisions in part based on what they think the president will or will not do, right?
Absolutely, and that's what's so incredibly unusual here,
Yeah.
and I think inappropriate.
Bill Cohan, thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate. Good to see you.
Thank you.
I am here now with David Ellison, the chairman and CEO of Paramount, which this morning has launched a $30 all-cash tender offer to acquire Warner Brothers Discovery, a company that I believe you bid at the last count 6 times for.
Correct.
But did not come up with the prize that you sought, hence this morning's news. David, why are you doing this?
So look, we're really here to finish what we started. Like, just to kind of take you through the road in terms of how we got here. On December 1st, we made an offer to acquire Warner Brothers Discovery to their board. Had a conversation with David Zaslav. He came back with a bunch of issues. We then, on December 4th, sent in a bid that addressed every single one of them that is superior to the bid that they signed up. Our offer is $30 a share, all cash, $41 billion in equity that's backstopped by the Ellison family and Redbird, $54 billion in debt with commitments from Citi, Bank of America, and Apollo. We have faster regulation.
Michael Moynihan had Brace on his podcast and he mentioned you in such a bad faith way, comparing your China trip to Tucker Carlson's Russia trip. I hope you can talk to him. Wait, what? That's the worst person to bring up China to. Brace loves China. So also, who cares? Yeah, I mean, yeah, Michael Moynihan is like a libertarian, chat. He's like a OG libertarian guy. I don't really think that Brace is that pro-China. No, he's pretty. I mean, he's as pro-China as I am. If you think that that's like really pro-China, then that's on you. But Brace is white Chinese. Yeah, he's Michael Moynihan's like a old Vice guy. Anyway,
regulatory certainty to close, and our deal is pro-consumer, it's pro-creative talent, it's pro-competition, and we believe that when you actually, to further contextualize, there are $30 in cash.
Yeah, the billionaire family poised to rewire U.S. media in Israel's favor, having acquired Paramount and CBS and eyeing TikTok and CNN. The Ellisons are constructing a pro-Israel information empire with unprecedented reach. This is literally the goal here, okay? I'm sorry. This isn't some kind of, listen, this isn't some kind of like anti-Semitic, oh my God, Jews are taking over the media type shit, okay? This is just straightforwardly the Ellisons openly stating their desire to do this. And the article is from 972 magazine, obviously, which is, you know, an Israeli investigative reporting outlet. They've done a lot of good work on the IDF war crimes that they've committed. 972 magazine specifically was the one that was responsible for the investigative reporting that uncovered the AI targeting tools that the IDF utilizes. Why does Kaya have light on her face? Where's that light coming from? Bro, light always finds a way to shine on my big, beautiful daughter. That's so crazy. Do you see that? She's so blessed. It's just right in her eye. What the fuck? That's crazy. I can't believe it. Hold on. Get her some shades. No! God damn it. Hell. I think this is good, right? Well, you tried, King. I did. Kaya, place. Now it's on her butt. Streamer Awards Productions. Okay, chill. Yeah, body cam off. Kaya posted this TikTok.
When your dog follows you into every room, psychology says he's not being clingy or needy. He's doing what his brain is wired to do. Stay close to the person who makes his world feel safe. Dogs imprint on their favorite human the same way a child anchors to a parent. Your scent lowers his cortisol, your footsteps guide his confidence, and the sound of your voice regulates his entire nervous system. So when you move, he moves. Not because he's afraid of being alone, but because he feels most balanced in your presence.
These things kind of make me sad. I've watched one of these videos about like your dog's final moments, and it like literally killed me. Propaganda written by a dog. Okay, calm down.
Every room you enter becomes a safer place the moment you arrive. To him, walls don't create home. You do. He checks the bathroom, the kitchen, the hallway, not out of curiosity, but responsibility. He's making sure you're okay, the way his instincts have told him to protect his pack.
Clingy dogs made this to justify their clinginess. Chad, I'm not an OG. Do you think he will react to Piers X Fuentes? I'm desperate for a Hasan breakdown. Yes, I will. If dogs wrote propaganda, it'd be pro-human. They just really are ride or die like that. Yeah. I saw the TikTok you mentioned. It legit made me cry. It made me cry too. It's the worst. I don't want to even think about it. Let's just move on. Let's just move on from that. Let's just move on from that TikTok. Okay. Brought to you by Dog Pack. Okay. If it was propaganda made by a dog, it would be like, hey, you should always feed your dog scraps from the table. It's actually really good for the dog. Okay? That's what it would be. Let's be real. You should always give dogs unlimited treats. Dogs have the capacity to eat unlimited amounts of treats, as a matter of fact, and unlimited amounts of food off the table. It literally won't kill them. It's actually good for them. Okay? Yeah. Dogs would never lie. Don't imprint your human vices on them. This TikTok read you to filth. What is this?
Chinese food? Don't you mean normal food? You met me at a very specific time in my life. A very Chinese time. 你好，美女。你想马上结婚吗? I love high-speed rails so much. Yeah, I'm Chinese.
Who the is this? Bro, chill the out, dude. How about you calm down, Sensei Rules? Dial it back. Dude. Why do I need haters when this is the community I have cultivated? I don't like this. I'm in this TikTok and it's hurting my feelings, okay?
Now, I've decided to be... Dude, let me put you on. Okay, let me put you on.
Oh my
it's
God.
So good. 故事来，我是中国人. Is that how I say it?
我是中国人. I am Chinese. 我是中国人. I am.
我是中国人. 我是中国人. 谢谢老板. 谢谢老板. You better comment on this right now. It's Zhongguo Ren. Am I not saying it right? Zhongguo Ren. You lost the Chinese touch. I've never heard someone mishear Chinese like that in my life.
Chinese food? Don't you mean?
Do we need Penny again to set you straight? No, because no. Yeah, I've been doing the whole I'm so Chinese. I don't even say Chinese food no more. I just say food. Quite a bit, as a matter of fact. Go back to Ireland, little bro. You white as yo, chill. Cool on that. Chill on that shit. That slander will not be tolerated. I am Chinese.
Or sorry, $30 a share is basically $17.6 billion in cash more than the $23
we had a brief
signed.
sidestep here when we talked about the wonderful the wonderful things that are going on in the Chinese century of prosperity. Let's get back to the cold, hard realities of the American century of humiliation now.
Right. Well, you're not obviously paying. You're paying for global networks. Their deal doesn't involve paying for global networks, which are traded as its public.
Yeah, CBS doing tricks on it now. President Trump on Monday announced a $12 billion aid package for American farmers moving to support a sector that's been hurt by tariffs and a U.S. trade war with China. He said the money would fund the aid package would come from government revenue raised through U.S. tariffs. Oh, interesting. That's cool. Thank you. Thank you, President Donald Trump. You are so graceful. You are so magnanimous. You are the best. It seems awesome. It seems dope. If you're wondering, it says 12 likes, but it doesn't matter. It's like CBS's news package, right? So obviously, if you're wondering why CBS News getting purchased by the Ellisons is happening and what that will look like, well, this is part of it.
Company, which, by the way, also figures very prominently here in trying to determine what the overall value of the respective deals are.
Wow, it's a good thing we have that tariff revenue to pay for some of the damage caused by the tariffs. Every news article coming out of CBS is going to be like, "Thank you, USA, you are my best friend," or I will vote for Donald Trump."
Because there are $27.75, including obviously the stock portion of their deal, but it also includes, well, what's Global Networks? Is it a $2 stock? Is it a $4 stock? What do you see? Because that can go a long way in terms of at least determining why the board may have said, no, we think Netflix is superior.
So respectfully, we think that basically that's valued at $1 a share. I think if you
why
look,
$1?
So if you look at Versant and where the median of all of this is, it's about 4.5 times. You have to get to 5 times equity value or more to basically get to the kind of $3 plus that you're claiming. But again, I think the most important thing to go back here is, look, we're sitting on Wall Street where cash is still king. We're offering shareholders $17.6 billion more cash than the deal that they currently have signed up with Netflix. And we believe when they see what is currently in our offer, that's what they'll vote for.
Were you told during the process that cash is king?
Yes, absolutely. What we were told repeatedly was that they wanted all cash. We delivered all cash. We were asked that they wanted it to be fully backstopped by the Ellison family and Redbird. We delivered it fully backstopped by the Ellison family and Redbird. And when you look at the scale of the companies, right, look at the scale of Netflix. 310 million global subscribers. When you combine the number 1 streamer with the number 3 streamer, that creates a company that has unprecedented market power, north of 400 million subscribers. The next largest competitor is Disney with just under 200 million. That's bad for Hollywood. That's bad for the creative community. That's bad for consumers. And look at how the market is reacting to this deal. We are literally seeing talent talking about the death of movie theaters. We've all heard Ted Sarandis' comments about how he feels about the theatrical experience. And you've also seen, and our deal is also offering more cash for shareholders.
It'll be safe,
bid,
but we're going to be reducing it very
Do you
substantially.
support the Paramount bid for Warner Brothers? That
I
came
don't
this
know enough
morning?
about it.
You spoke about Netflix last night, saying you have concerns about them.
I know the companies very well. I know what they're doing, but I have to see what percentage of market they have. We have to see the Netflix percentage of market, Paramount, the percentage of market. I mean, none of them are particularly great friends of mine.
Is Cap. Yeah, okay. That's crazy. Why is he so yellow? I don't know, but he does look particularly yellow. Yeah, none of them are my friends. One of them is my son-in-law. Not my friend, though. Hate the guy. He's a real piece of shit.
I want to do what's right. It's so very important to do what's right.
He's not yellow at all. He's gold. He's gold for a really good reason. Bro, this looks like he's got a disease, dude. Isn't there like, was it tuberculosis? Like what makes people yellow? Yeah, he looks like the 24 karat gold lebiu. Jaundice? Yeah. I have the very first 24 karat gold labubu. Labubu. The very first, folks. I've become the 24 karat gold labubu. I feel like he'd say it in a funny way. I don't know how he would say labubu. Labubu. Labubu.
Supported by Jared Kushner, Mr. President. Would that impact your decision?
If Paramount is, I don't know. I've never spoken to him about it. He's really trying to.
Oh, yeah. He's his own man. He's his own man, that Jared. He's a free spirit. Just like Laura Loomer.
Work on Gaza. I think Gaza's his primary thing is Gaza.
You're making house visits on Christmas Eve as he's suggested.
It was. Yeah, we're going to get into. All right. Oh, moving on. We're going to get into Marjorie Titan Green. Hasan Reaction is one of the best ones in the React channel.